and it says go. Good evening, everybody. Nela from Hypnotic here tonight is the first edition of our Hypnotic Lives, and I noticed that I still have to look for my words for this year, but I wish to welcome everybody. We start the series again, introducing the speakers this year because there are so many speakers, and I'm really happy about that. Really enthusiastic. But we have grouped them a bit, so each time there is a hypnotic live, there will be several people visible on the screen, voices you hear, and getting to know people. It will be in English because, as from 2026, Hypnotic is really going international. We launched last year a bit. Ayla, you were there at that time. Like switching from Dutch to English. Is it possible? Is it not possible? Seeing the testing the scene and then deciding let's go global. So good evening, everybody who's watching. There are two people watching already. I will stop talking because it's up to you to get to know the speakers. I think you know enough about me already. So, Ronia, I invite you to take the stand, introduce yourself to the people who are watching. Who are you? Where are you? What are you doing? The scene is yours.
Thank you, Neil. Thanks for having me. My name is Ronia Fraser. I'm a multi-award winning trauma recovery coach and clinical hypnotherapist. And I'm one of the leading experts in the field of narcissistic abuse recovery, which means I work with abuse survivors from all over the world. And I help them get back on their feet, regain their mental health, and recover who they were always meant to be in the aftermath of abuse. And yeah, I am based in Lisbon. I'm German originally, and then via US, UK, made it to Lisbon. So right now I'm based in Portugal. And yeah, I'm very excited to come to Belgium because it's my very first time in Belgium, believe it or not.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, you surprise me. Ayla, for you, it's not the first time in Belgium, is it?
No, I think I've been there since the beginning of Hypnotic. Every, every, not as a speaker every edition, but definitely was there physically every time.
True, indeed.
Yeah.
But still, maybe there are still people who don't know you yet, who are interested in getting to know you. So feel free to introduce yourself.
Yeah, sure. Well, my name's Ayla. I'm a hypnotherapist and trainer, and I teach the Omni training in the Netherlands. And yeah, I have my own practice, the School of Joy. And recently, I'm focusing on working with pregnant women to prepare them for uh, well,
Birth.
yeah, a good birth. I don't want to use the word comfortable, but to prepare them to
So
be present with their birth and enjoy it and prepare for motherhood. And yeah,
lovely. Interesting topic also to talk about.
yeah.
And then last but not least, sorry, we'll first go to the introductions. So Frederic, I have taken the rules to follow ladies first, but now it's up to you. Can you
Well,
please?
you definitely went for the best first. Nelia, I'd just like to thank you for having me along. I really appreciate it. And I'm tremendously looking forward to coming. I have never been to Belgium, either just for fun or pleasure or business. And I am really looking forward to coming. So thank you. I'm a clinical mental health counselor in the United States. I don't usually speak to you from like my bedroom, and this is not actually my bedroom. I'm in a hotel looking out at the other side of the Atlantic Ocean, the window in front of me at a counseling conference that I've been speaking at on hypnosis. So it's fun to come to a completely different profession and then talk about what we do with hypnotherapy. I treat trauma, anxiety, depression, somatic symptom, body symptom disorders, dissociative disorders. Um, Physical pain relief is one of my things. I've won a bunch of awards as well, and I really I just love the nature of the change that we get with the processes that we do. It's not like the changes you get with like cognitive therapy. It's just so much better. So it's lovely. You have my presentations, I think, are generally known for their, I hope they're very practical. Like I usually go for that. But I think they're really known for the scientific basis of them, which is really clinical. I like to try to make that very practical and comprehensible, though. And you have me speaking on epigenetics, which I am thrilled to come and speak on. That is heavy duty science, and I think it'll be really interesting for people. It's definitely a deep dive into the science side of things.
Thank you. And that's definitely also the aim, that I'm trying to find the right balance between the scientific part of things. So I have more and more also people talking about science at Hypnotic on the one hand, and then combined indeed with this very practical, hands-on, how to apply, how to use, and the invitation to all the speakers to have it really hands-on, that people step away with a lot of knowledge by the time they walk out of your presentation, that they really have knowledge they have gathered, and tips and tricks and methods they can use afterwards. That's the whole aim indeed. So I'm really grateful to have people coming from Portugal, from the US. I'm really honored, Fredric, that you come from the US to Antwerp, and then not that far away, Ayla, but it's still a travel.
Still, it's a 1 hour car drive for me. So.
Yes,
that is
I
a long way.
1 hour and a half to go to Antwerp, so it's far. It's further away for me than it is for you. This is funny.
Yeah. Well, I'm calculating from my mom's place, though. From Amsterdam, it would take me 2 hours.
Right. Okay. So yes, we all have some traveling to do. Great. And it's in a lovely city. It's in Antwerp, really nice place to be, easily reachable. So for people who come in by plane, like Ronia, like Fredric, there is a shuttle service at the airport that you can take for just 10 euros to come from Brussels airport to Antwerp. And the bus really stops in front of the hotel door. It's really like a taxi, but just for 10 euros. So that's one of the reasons why I chose that location. Anyway, that's the practical side. But meanwhile, we also have passed that information for people who are flying in, that they can definitely also take the shuttle service and don't have to take the train and a taxi and a tram or whatever. So it's really easy to come to the hotel. Anyway, you're all already quite for some time busy with hypnosis. You all have different niches you are working in. Ronia, I heard the narcissistic abuse. Ayla, I heard the mothers, accompanying the mothers to a softer birth and a good connection with the baby, if I understand correctly, right? That's
Yes.
also the part I also really love. Fredric, what's your niche, in fact?
I mean, I could be pain alleviation. It could be trauma. I'm a mental health counselor. I suppose that within hypnotic training, my niche really is solid clinical basis. How do our processes function? Why do they work? What is it about the brain? Being able to talk to the medical community in ways that that make sense to them and build our credibility. I've served on a psychiatric faculty training psychiatrist. I'm really, really proud that like this year I've contributed to a psychiatric medical textbook published by Norton. It's a fifth edition of essential psychopathology and its treatment. It's used in medical schools here, and I got to write this section in that on hypnotherapy. And
Wow,
I feel
cool.
like that's like a huge like professional accomplishment. Ayla, thank you.
Yeah.
Also the people that I'm with. I mean, I've heard both Ayla and Ronia present, and they are experts and just fabulous presenters. And Ayla, I've appreciated your work. Ronia, your work with narcissism gave me an entirely different viewpoint for approaching that as a problem, and became very helpful for me working with my clients. And really gave me tools, and I've been in practice for a long time, really gave me some tools in a way of looking at things that I did not have before. And it was fantastic. So I am
Thank
honored.
you. I'm very happy to hear
You're
that.
very
Thank you.
welcome. I am very happy to be included in not just the three of you here, but also the other people that I've seen that are presenting. It looks like a fabulous conference.
Yeah.
I'm so
Yeah.
happy. I'm so proud with the speakers that are. I'm really happy with the program. I'm really proud. It's a really very strong program this year. Not that it wasn't in the past, far from that. But what I do notice is that it's growing every year, and that I, from the beginning, I had like the standard has to be high. I wanted also to spoil the people who are coming to the conference because it's also, we forget to celebrate the work we are doing every day as well. We start to take it for granted that we are able to help people like that. And we forget to spoil ourselves also. So for me, also, the conference is a way of spoiling yourself. Have a weekend where you are really taken care of, where the food is nice, where the company is nice. Now the gala awards dinner is added also to make it really a nice experience, a weekend for yourself as a hypnotherapist. And I think that's also really important, not only in terms of who the speakers are, really important as well, don't get me wrong, the most important, but everything around it should be perfect as well, so that people really feel like, oh wow, I have spoiled myself a weekend in terms of food, accommodation, and knowledge, getting knowledge and sharing knowledge as well the whole weekend. So I'm really, really proud of everybody who will take the stage, and of course we will do our utterly best as well to spoil you guys as well the whole weekends.
Well, in previous editions, I was pleasantly surprised with the quality of food. For me, it matters a lot, actually, healthy food.
Yeah. Yeah, and this year as well, although we changed locations because we used to be in one particular location, always in Belgium, and then one in the Netherlands as well. But there also definitely we did pay attention to the food. You can ask Angelique if you see her, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we tested the food because Angelique is our policeman, as John Scanlon calls her so nicely. Um, she's the one who's during the weekends, the one who ensures that everybody is in the right place at the right time. Really like a police officer, watching that all the workshops are finished in time, but also that the next one can start in time, that the food is there, etc., etc. She's really the what I call the ceremony master of the weekends. That she guarantees everything is running smoothly. It's like the first time we organized Hypnotic, I had something like this, feels like a wedding I have prepared for months. And then the day comes of the wedding. I never got married, but that's the idea I have about it. And then the day comes of the wedding. And then you have this person who ensures that whatever you have planned and rolled out and prepared, that it runs just perfect. And that's what Angelique does the whole weekend. So you will definitely also get to know her shortly and enjoy her as well. But Fredric, can you tell a bit more about what it was particularly about Ronia's methods and things you learned that made it so attractive? Because I have followed her workshop, one workshop in Dublin last year. I was impressed as well, but I'd love to hear it from someone else.
I mean, absolutely. There's a lot that's practical, but there was like a seminal idea that just really hit me, and that was Ronia. You made the point that we've got these diagnostic criteria for narcissism, but it really doesn't matter because those people never show up. Um, and for you to flip it on its head and go, what do we actually see in the people that have been subjective to narcissistic abuse? Like, what is their presentation? What do they look like? And then also you talked about like, I think, specific DSM diagnoses that narcissistic abuse would kind of end up getting categorized under. And I was like, that is absolutely brilliant, because being able to assess my client and think about what are telltale signs that this is not just, I mean, I don't even know how to say this, but garden variety PTSD, for example. But we're really, or borderline or whatever, that we're really dealing with someone who's been subjected to narcissistic abuse. that was a giant game changer for me. So that concept just right there, because it's so practical. Like my client sitting there and she or he is talking to me, and I am thinking through points that you made, and I'm assessing like, is this something else? And then there were particular things you talked about that you could to do in those situations. And I love your two books that are on that, one for him and her. Um, and it's your story to tell, but that was kind of my place with it. So yeah, I loved that.
You're making me blush. Thank you.
Well, it's hidden with the hair. It all works okay.
Yeah, I'm glad it's received as it's intended. So thank you for that feedback.
That's great. And I think it's a great way to present Ronia and what you will be doing at Hypnotic. And it's great to hear from someone who has seen her in action already as well. So I have seen Fredric talk in Las Vegas 2 years ago, I think it was. But whom else has seen Fredric in action and can tell something about how Fredric does his things?
Well, I've seen Fredric multiple times. In fact, I think it was the first hypnosis congress I ever visited. So Fredric is like a little bit of a someone I look up to a lot. Yes, Fredric. Yeah, it was very special for me, and I think I really love your presenting style. First of all, with so much humor, but also so much knowledge that you give, and I think you actually did an instant induction on me in the first presentation I saw of you, or the second. I think it was, it was the Hypnosis Congress in Zurich in 2018, I think. You remember?
No.
You don't remember?
I remember meeting you, but I don't remember particular things I did in presentations. It's all like a fugue state. So I'm going to be honest. I do remember at the Irish conference that you came up and stood by me, just like managing the microphone or something. You were so gracious with that. It was lovely, because I was like, I need 3 hands to demonstrate this. And like Ayla was like, I'm all in there. And just with like just a good, it was a good sport, and I appreciated that. So yes. But
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. No, but I would recommend anybody to go to Fredric's presentations, specifically for all the science you provide also. And I think when thinking about Ireland, that was very empowering for me to learn from you. You were talking about neurological, conversion disorders. Am I saying that correctly?
Right. Functional neurological disorder,
Yes.
Conversion disorder. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, it was just one line, but sometimes that's all you need. But that hypnosis is actually the perfect method to deal with that. And I was not aware of that, because I was always a little bit nervous if I would get requests from people with these kind of symptoms. But that presentation of you made it really clear for me. Okay, I can work with this.
I am absolutely delighted about that. And I mean, that's a disorder that we don't have otherwise. There's no treatment otherwise. Like, there's not a standard treatment for it, either medical or therapy. So thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, well, thank you.
I think this is really a nice way to present each other. Instead of introducing yourself, hear it back from someone else. So Ronia,
I haven't seen Ayla.
You haven't?
No, so I can't really contribute. I know it's amazing, has to be, because Ayla is amazing. But unfortunately, I cannot give an eyewitness account.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I am not a mom, but I have been in your presentations, and I love your approach, your compassion, your just incredible genuineness and emotional intelligence. The things that you're doing to help the clients that are in. I mean, it's just a very different situation in life, isn't it? And just this sense of compassion and rapport.
Yeah, thank you. That is something that I value a lot in my work, bringing that compassion. So it's nice to be noticed for that.
Well, and because when you're working, the work that you're doing with the women, again, when I'm there, I'm sorry for some of your work, I'm like the outsider looking in on this, but I feel like that emotional presence that you have is really just beautiful, and I see that in the processes that you're teaching, the way you approach the people that you're doing things with, just in general around the conferences. I think we've been at several different conferences together. I don't remember doing a rapid induction with you in Zurich, but I do remember many different conversations we've had in many different places that we've been, and seeing the way you interact with the people there that is lovely.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can only confirm. I have seen her live at work at Hypnotic. And what I also highly value about Ayla's work is the not only the compassion, but also the fun element she can bring into things. It's not heavy. No matter what you are dealing with, I think you can always relate at the level that is required. And you bring a joy into the room. I highly appreciate your energy, the way you enter, and you can feel at ease already just before you even have said a word. So I highly value that about you.
Well, that is in line with the name of my practice, School of Joy.
It is.
I
Yeah,
love that. Like
really
I
good.
so love that because like it's a thing that I'll say from time to time that the goal of therapy is not the absence of problems, it's the presence of joy. Like that is
Oh yeah.
really where we want to get people. And like I remember when you had that online, this was your place, and then also the different pictures you've shown of your office and stuff that are just lovely. And I just feel like there's a congruency with like setting and name and your person. Um, yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I always think like a good session, for me at least, I like to see all the emotions on the spectrum. So I really enjoy a session where there's a lot of space for tears and anger, and but also where you can laugh together. Like I've had so many moments with clients where we're just laughing because sometimes of silly things, sometimes of like mispronouncing a word and the client noticing and laughing. I enjoy these kind of things. So yeah.
And what brought you to working with moms, Ayla? I also work with pregnant women, and I also highly appreciate it. So I'm just curious, what brought that? You say, this is really my favorite topic to work with.
Yeah, one client.
Okay.
One amazing client case with a mother, or actually it was before she became a mother, but she was struggling with that question of like, do I want children? My partner wants them. I don't want them. I don't know if I want them. So that was her initial question to me. And we had several sessions and we worked together very successfully. And at the last session, I gave a suggestion that we gave a suggestion that in a month's time it's going to be fixed. And exactly 1 month later, I get a picture from her in my email inbox with a pregnancy test. And Ayla, we have to call.
Oh,
And
wonderful.
she was so nervous. So we came to the point where she found out, yeah, I want children. But now she was terrified of the pain of birth. And there is a program developed by Gerald Kine with 5 sessions to prepare a woman for a comfortable birth. So I told her this, and I did 5 sessions with her, but I adapted it because Gerald Kine, I have a lot of esteem for him, but he is a male. So I
Exactly.
could see the scripts were really written from a male perspective.
Okay.
Well, yeah. So I did a lot of research for her, and we went all in, and the result was just so amazing. But the most incredible thing about it was I not only worked with her, I also worked with the father. I included him in the process, and they invited me afterwards to their home, and the joy, the happiness that I could see, it is like, wow. Yeah, that I'm like, I want to help women with this. So I'm currently developing into it and fine tuning the program. And one thing I have to admit, because I asked her, like, because the goal was to have 0% pain. That was the goal. We always say we have to put the goal high. It's not a promise that we're going to reach it, but if we put it lower, then we will reach lower, you know? So I asked her, did you, how was it? And she told me, honestly, Ayla, from a scale from 0 to 10, it was above a 10. But she said, because I taught her kind of a switch to put off mentally, she said, but I didn't dare to put that switch back on. So regardless of not reaching that goal, she had a very successful experience. The birth took, in fact, over 20 hours.
Wow.
But she had to go to the hospital unexpectedly. But she was making jokes in the ambulance. And at the end, she was like, I could have gone on for hours. So the whole medical staff was also amazed, like, how did this happen? So it taught me something very important, that for birth, it's not about, you know, the perfect, comfortable birth. It's about being present and flowing with whatever comes in that experience. So
Yeah, trusting the process of the body.
yes.
Yeah, we can have a separate discussion where I talk about this once, because I also have a program for women who are pregnant, and even a program for before they are pregnant, to indeed decide for themselves to be conscious parents. It's also for couples, and then a whole program to
Oh, wow.
them in the pregnancy. So we can definitely have a separate talk about this
Yeah,
one.
sure.
Fredric and Ronia get lost in the conversation. That's not the aim. So yet we have 4 different nationalities, if I consider I'm a Belgian, in the call at the moment. We're all working with hypnotherapy. We met at conferences in the past. That's how Hypnotic also started to live, in fact, by going to other conferences and meeting interesting people and feeling. In the very beginning, I felt really lonely in this profession. I'm in the business now for 6 years, so I think I'm the youngest. Am I not, Ayla?
2018. So
Yes, 8 years. I think I'm the youngest in the company here. We're all in different countries. Do we all face the same challenges when it comes to the position of hypnotherapy in the country we are at? How is that in the US, Fredric? Because I hear you are working together with the medical world, working together with psychiatrists. How is it really to be a hypnotherapist in the US?
I mean, I feel like we have a profession that has a stigma that goes with it. I'm speaking at a medical seminar in a different city actually on Monday, and they want to talk about alternative and new approaches to pain relief. And I'm like, well, we're the oldest Western model of psychotherapy, and in the United States, I mean, we actually are not alternative or even complementary. We're standard of care, and for pain relief, we're a best practice. I do think that our stature is going up as we've had more research, just more and more neuroimaging. I mean, at this point, there are thousands and thousands of studies. Hypnosis is definitely operating differently in the brain than cognition. We understand very well how these processes work. We can absolutely align the neurology of how high hypnotizability, which is actually a genetic trait, how it aligns with certain kinds of diagnoses that, like, we're just neurologically a good fit for trauma and for anxiety and for depression and dissociative disorders and somatic body symptom disorders. Like, we are taking advantage of the same brain functionality that gets people in trouble to get them out of it. So as we're able to talk more and more about the science of it, I feel like our credibility continues to go up. That said, I still have clients who actually come into my office just to ask about my services, who will say, well, you're not going to make me cluck like a chicken, are you? And I'll be like, well, I probably could, but it's not shown to be therapeutically effective. And then like the textbook that I ended up contributing to, which I was the only non-physician to contribute to that textbook. Um, the stuff that it previously had on hypnosis was just, I mean, honestly, was wrong. Like, and that was the fourth edition that's out currently, and it's like, it's just wrong. Like the stuff that it's saying about what we do. It had crazy things in it, like, you know, it actually had in it that the subject can only hear the hypnotist's voice and stuff like
Oh,
that.
wow.
So
Oh,
yeah, like yeah, and so I feel like we've got I feel like we've got a bit of a ways to go, but I also feel like the more we present our profession credibly, which means with a nice empirical basis to it, not pseudoscience, but good solid work, studies. I do think our credibility goes up. So I had a potential client who was a surgeon, and she's like, "Okay, tell me how this works." And I was like, "Well, you're a brain surgeon." She's like, "No," and I'm like, well, I'm sure you still know more about the brain than me, but this is how it works. And she listened to me, and this went for about 5 minutes, and she goes, "Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I'm in." And I'm like, great, like there you go. So the more we're able to talk credibly, I think the better. Ayla mentioned omni hypnosis, and they have done actually some really nice neuroimaging in the last 2 years on like hypnotic depth, where they found not only like uh, functional changes in the brain, but like chemical changes in the brain as well during hypnosis. So it's we've got thousands of studies at this point that substantiate what we do. The processes are clinically phenomenally effective. At this conference with a bunch of counselors, I did a regression this morning to help a guy with a trauma, and everybody's blown away by it. And they're all talking about like, trauma treatment, especially if you're working with like sexual trauma, you're going to have this long treatment plan, and it's going to go for months and months. And I'm like, I usually see people for like maybe 6 sessions, but it's getting to be fewer, like 4 or 5 really at this point. And honestly, I was surprised the first time I had a woman client who decided to process a sexual trauma with me. But I mean, that's all the time now. Like our processes are just so phenomenally effective and so quick and just lovely. So I do feel like our credibility is going up. The U.S. government recognizes us as a best practice for pain relief. That is a
yeah.
high standard. And before our current administration, that's from back in 2019. So it's not goofiness that's going on. So yeah, I feel like the tide has turned. I feel like we're moving in a much more positive direction, and that people will have more openness. And that as we demonstrate effectiveness, people are like, "Yep, okay, that works."
Yeah. And are you the one reaching out to the medical professionals, or in general, to get your scientific base? And I mean, Omni does its own studies, right? But to get your studies and things like that, do you reach out to the medical world to work with, to have this evidence-based scientific studies done, or how is it done in the
Well,
US,
I'm not
or
thinking
is
it's
it
just
done by
me.
others?
Yeah, I'm not thinking it's just me. And I hope not. But uh, yeah, I definitely do. And I just in many years of practice, I've had a lot of opportunity to be in contact with different people that are in the medical profession, both working with their patients and then also with them as clients. And where people have seen these changes and seen the power of the processes, then there's curiosity, and then we talk about how it functions, and then there's understanding. When I first became a hypnotist, I thought it would be something that would be fun at parties, and honestly, that's why I took a little bit of a work to kind of learn some of it. And then I've had some substantial issues with chronic pain myself that I managed to get rid of with hypnosis, and I was like, wow, that is super powerful. And then as people were telling me how hypnosis operated, I realized that like I was being told stuff that didn't make any sense. It was kind of crazy. And so I was like, okay, there's a way that this works, because it obviously works. There's a way that this works. What is it? And so it's been many years of like reading studies in all sports medicine journals and psychiatry journals and anesthesiology journals. And we don't read each other's journals, but like all the information has been there. And so pulling it together, promoting it, but I do think that that's happening more and more.
Great. Thank you. Ronia, you have traveled the world. You have lived in several different countries. Have you always been a hypnotherapist then while you were in these different places?
No, like once upon a time, I was a CPA.
Okay.
You look
So
like a CPA.
I know, right? Yeah. I mean, I still am a CPA, you know, like I learned the trade. But yeah, no, I've been a hypnotherapist since 2017. And a bit like with you, Fredric, it kind of came out of necessity. Like you had your chronic pain, and I had complex post-traumatic stress from an abusive relationship. And I had to find a way to save my life because nobody else would. And, you know, it really came out of a necessity. And now, obviously, I'm very established in the work that I do. I'm very recognized as a clinical hypnotherapist, but also as a leading trauma expert. And that one, like the trauma aspect of things, in various different situations, I get more pushback than in other places. Like, for example, in the UK, I feel like it's the most recognized and the easiest to navigate where because I lived in the UK for 15 years. So, and that's where I was when I became a hypnotherapist. So it kind of felt like easy, not easy as such, but you know, there was less resistance because the UK at that point was already open to hypnosis. And even though you don't get referred by the NHS has a hypnotherapy register, and you have to jump through some hoops and get the right accreditation. But it always felt quite open.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I've always worked online from when I started. So back in 2017, I was already exclusively online, which was a big scandal back then because, you know, it was sort of unheard of. And I got a lot of pushback then for being unethical, being unsafe. And then COVID happened. And then everybody came to me and asked me how to do it. So now online, obviously, you know, it requires different kind of safeguarding. But of course, you know, at this point, we know it's absolutely possible. So in the UK, always quite easy. I've been working with the US online, but then of course also my business is in the UK. So that's how I'm regulated through the UK because it's, you know, UK as a hypnotherapist makes your life much easier, I have to say.
Okay.
And in Germany, I get a lot of pushback. So in Germany, it requires like a medical background to be a hypnotherapist, which of course I don't, because my background is in business. And so when I do work in Germany, it happens a lot that I get pushback a lot from medical professionals and from psychotherapists, where I get comments, where I get emails. And when I do work in Germany, I'm a coach. So, you know, like when I introduce myself, that's my title. I'm a coach. Whereas in the UK, I actually moved away from being a coach just because of how coaching is perceived. And in the UK, I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, you know, because I do trauma work. So clinical hypnotherapist gives me much more credibility than being a coach. And so different countries perceive hypnosis differently, but also the entry into this field, especially when you do anything but self-development, you know, like or entertainment, if it's in the trauma field, can be very difficult. And I mean, if anybody who wants to work in this field in hypnosis really has to get a thick skin and not take it personally, because there are like doors that are just constantly slammed in your face. Like for me to get onto a conference to speak in Germany is like pretty much impossible because I don't have the doctor title. Whereas in the UK in September, they invited me to speak at the biggest trauma conference in the world.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's just easier to establish yourself in the UK. And then here in Portugal, hypnosis exists, but it's not mainstream at all. at all. And
Well, and congratulations to you on that too, because going and speaking at these other conferences, like the largest trauma conference in the world, and you're flying the flag for what we do is awesome. And it puts things out there in a way that, like, you speak well for the profession, you know what you're doing, you're an obvious expert. And like that, also clearly, if it's the biggest in the world, an international audience. And so go you, that is
yeah.
fabulous for
Like
all of
it blows my own mind, because most people there are doctors and neuroscientists.
Right.
And I go there as a clinical hypnotherapist, and I, get to, they give me a platform to talk about an incredibly important topic. But I also used hypnosis to be able to even do that, because I did another big trauma conference 2 years ago in Belfast, and that was kind of like my introduction into the trauma A-list kind of thing. And I walked into this speaker lounge, and it was literally like the Metallica and Guns N' Roses and AC/DC of the trauma world sitting there. And then, there was me, the rookie, obviously, no medical professional, no doctor, no professor. And I noticed myself going like, "Hi, I'm Ronnie." And I mean, you guys know me, right? Like, I'm Ronnie. Huh? It's not me at all, but I had imposter syndrome. So, so I took myself up to the room, and set myself in front of the mirror and went like, "Ronnie, what is going on?" And then, I had a little conversation with myself with like, "No, listen, they invited you to speak here. They flew you in like everybody else. You actually earned your place here." And then I did my little visualization of putting my crown back on, and centering the crown. And obviously, when we put on a crown, our physiology has to change, because otherwise it slips off. And I'm like, "Put your crown on and go back downstairs and do it again." And that's what I did. And then, obviously that changed everything, because then I was like, "Hi, I'm Ronia, and I do this and this and this." And, and so it continues, because obviously we're using our own tools, right, to make things happen. And it doesn't always have to be deep stuff. It can be like fun stuff like that as well.
Definitely. Yeah. Nice.
That's
And
really
in the
cool.
Netherlands, yeah, it's really, I think sometimes, at least I myself, forget how fantastic our tools are, and sometimes forget to use them on myself. And then there is Christoph Dirks, who asks, "Are you still using self hypnosis?" I should. Yeah, nice. Christoph comes later in the Hypnotic Lives, because he's one of the speakers as well, of course. Ayla, how is it in the Netherlands? I think I have a bit of a view, but how is it in the Netherlands to be a hypnotherapist?
Yeah, it's good. I'm just thinking about, my mom is also a hypnotherapist, and she started more than 15 years ago. I was in high school at that time, and there's a joke in the family that at that time she was thinking about writing a book called "Help, My Mom is a Hypnotherapist." So the times have shifted. That's what I want to say. Like, when she started, she really had to explain it to people, defend it. Maybe nowadays people are really open. I think I might have a biased view because I live in Amsterdam, and
Mhm.
people in Amsterdam are like, everybody is looking for healing and for therapy, and oh, hypnosis is cool. Also, I think if you yourself, it's very interesting. I've heard other people say that if you yourself are a little bit doubtful about hypnosis and is it a serious profession, you kind of attract these people that will reinforce that vision. So if you yourself are really solid within, like, yeah, this is real. So I don't encounter that many people, but I was thinking, Fredric, sometimes when I come to conferences in America, we came to Las Vegas and we went on a tour in one of the valleys there, and people then ask, "What do you do?" And then I noticed the reactions are quite different than the ones I would get in the Netherlands. Like, oh, I should not look into your eyes, or those kind of things. It rarely happens over here. So I think people are quite open, and I think also what you were mentioning about our profession getting taken more serious. by medical professionals. That's definitely something we notice here as well. Like me and my mom, we give also trainings for medical professionals, and definitely since that research done by Omni came out, we're seeing an increase in interest. And actually, I do get a lot of medical referrals because of all the trainings I do for medical people. So, yeah.
The Omni studies are actually really nice, and I think there are like 3 of them, and they're really solid. I do want to stress that there are honestly thousands of neuroimaging studies on hypnosis that show all kinds of things about what we do, and so it's. I just think all that builds. In Las Vegas is God love them, like um, they're a different part of the country. I'll just put it that way. Um, I remember the first time I showed up in Las Vegas, I was like, kind of a new young hypnotist and wet behind the ears, and we were walking through the lobby of the hotel that we were at, and the bellman who's like taking the luggage up. It was not a fancy hotel, but you had to tip the bellman. Was coming along, and he's like, "What are you doing?" We're like, "Well, we're hypnotists." And he goes, "Oh wow, can you hypnotize me?" And I had never done rapid induction at that point. I'm not sure I'd ever actually seen a rapid induction, but I just went, "Sure, sleep." This guy, like, I'm glad we were walking by like a big post, like one of the big posts holding up the building, because this guy fell over into the post and like I had to catch him. I'm like, oh my God, what was that? What just happened? Like but it was just a setup. Like he's in Las Vegas and there's hypnotists. He's seen shows and stuff, and so yeah, they're a different place.
Yeah, and I remember Amy. She's, I think, also your friend. She did a
Amy Charlo.
Yeah, she did a presentation because she goes to the fairs in America.
Yeah.
And she does street hypnosis there. And one thing she told me that I always remember and even sometimes share in my trainings is she said, depending on the social economic status of where I am, people go into trance differently. So people with a lower social economic status, they have this image that people go into trance like zombies. So they will behave like zombies when they go in trance. And I thought, oh, that's really interesting.
She's a brilliant stage hypnotist and does like several hundred shows a year because she does these Ren Fest. And some of them are in like rural Pennsylvania, and then some of them are in like Colorado, which is a fancier place. And she talks about how in Pennsylvania she would hypnotize people, and they're all doing this thing like this. And she's like, where in the world did that come from? And then she realized, I don't know if you even know this cartoon, but like there's a like Scooby-Doo, the cartoon show Scooby-Doo. Do you know this? Like the kids investigating, mysteries.
Yes, they look like that.
Yeah. And she said, I realized that everybody in this place like learned about hypnosis from Scooby-Doo. And so she talked about how she one gave people instruction that they could move naturally on stage. But the other thing they did is that the episode of Scooby-Doo about hypnosis has, of course, an evil clown in it doing hypnosis. So that's like great for our credibility there. But like the induction that the clown does is like, watch the spinning coin of gold and you will do as you are told. So she said she started doing that, like in Pennsylvania, watch the spinning coin. And I was like, this is great. Like, yeah, play to where people are. And, it's fun. So there you go. Yeah. But it does depend on the framing people have.
Sorry?
It does depend on the framing people have, like how they understand it. I remember a client one time early in my practice, I had a business partner back then. And this client was an older woman from like out in the country. And she was like, well, he didn't hypnotize me. And I'm like, really? And she's like, well, he didn't swing no watch. And I'm like, so I need to swing a watch to hypnotize you? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay.
Let's do this.
Let's do this. Here we go.
Yeah. See all these stereotype ways of the way it's explained how you get hypnotized with the watch or
American. So I had a guy in my hypnosis course last time around that it was deaf, and trained him to be a hypnotist. But American Sign Language, like this is their sign for hypnosis.
Okay.
Very fascinating.
Yeah, very scientific, Yeah. Anyway, interesting. The situation in Belgium, I think I would want to say it's comparable to the way it is in the Netherlands, but it depends from region to region and from person to person you talk to. I live in the countryside where, when I mention I work with hypnosis, people also have something like, I shouldn't watch in your eyes or look into your eyes. And then again, people who are open to it are really open to it. So very mixed reactions, but nevertheless also very different approaches. And there are people in the medical world who are ready to collaborate together and who do refer. And then there are others who are completely against. So it's a mixture of things. But as you mentioned, Frederic, as long as we indeed start to really prove what we are doing and how we are doing it and show we are professional in what we do also, that will definitely make things evolve in the future. For sure.
I think it's in the on the uptake like everywhere because people get to know about the results. And like Germany had a lot of resistance towards it, but now like in the biggest German newspaper, it's a tabloid, but it's still the most read newspaper in the country. They actually reached out to me and commissioned me for 7 articles, obviously knowing what I do and despite of that. And they've also run whole, like for New Year's, like the whole of January, they ran like a smoking cessation with hypnosis kind of thing. So it becomes more mainstream and more accepted. And I've also noticed that I have more Germans reaching out, inquiring, and whether that's strangers or family or friends, because for them, I'm the only one they know in that kind of field. So they go, all of a sudden it's like, oh, can you tell me more about it? Whereas 8 years ago, it was like all woo-woo, what I was doing, you know? So something is definitely shifting. I think in general, like everywhere, because people are looking for solutions and they're realizing they're not getting anything from, or not what they are looking for with things like traditional therapy. So, you know, the awareness in general and the openness is changing.
Yeah,
Well,
I have actually a lot of.
congratulations.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Congratulations to you, Ronia, on the getting to write 7
Again.
articles in the most read newspaper. Like, once again, hats off, and that is awesome. But also kind of thinking about Germany, I did 2 3-day workshops on pain relief over there back in October. And I think we had like, I think there were about 50 participants, 50, 60. And I think we had a dozen physicians that were there. And everybody was German. Like, there was, like, I was the only American in sight, and everybody's German that's in the room. And so, yeah, like, that seemed like a good sign as a snapshot.
Yeah, I think Germany is rapidly catching up. I think, yeah. But you have a PhD, right, Fredric?
My doctorate is a doctor of ministry, which no one understands, but it's sort of like a master of business administration for a nonprofit plus a bunch of counseling classes. And so it's
because
kind
that
of
makes a big difference, right? Like if I had a doctorate, regardless in what, just the letters to my name, that would change everything, you know. And in some countries, that's what's required. So luckily, the way I'm working, it's not.
right.
But yeah.
I always like to make sure that I clarify, because I never want to tell people I have a degree that I don't have. And so I do have a doctorate, and that's what it is. I also have 2 master's degrees, and one of them is in professional counseling. So I overschooled, I guess, but it's not a PhD, it's a DMin. I actually had someone in the UK take me to task on that, and I was like, I've never said I had a PhD. And, you know, if you like the information, great. And if you don't, there are a lot of other seminars to go to. Like, there you go.
Yeah. Fascinating and interesting. I think it was a great approach to start talking like that in small groups with the speakers. I think it has been very useful for the people who have been listening. There are quite some, which is great. The recording will be available for the people who haven't been able to listen live. The recording is available and stays available, so they can look again. I wish to thank you all, Ronia, Fredric, Ayla, for this lovely conversation. It has been really bringing new insights. I think it was really nice to have this talk, and I'm looking forward, and I'm sure everybody who got to know you now is looking forward to seeing you in 2 months, a bit less, a bit more, February, March, a bit more than 2 months. So looking forward to seeing you in Antwerp really soon. Have a lovely evening. Bye.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much.